But the reasons why they're doing that is because ICE doesn't have enough. ICE does not have enough members that are trained to be able to do these mass apprehensions. So the Trump administration has restructured all of the federal law enforcement agencies to focus on this instead of whatever kind of crimes that they were tasked with focusing on. By the way, street vendors were targeted in ICE raids on New York City's Canal Street. This happened yesterday. Lo and behold, this happened because a random dipshit right-wing commentator on Twitter was like, there are illegals on Canal Street. Where is ICE? Took one day for ICE to go in and brutalize a bunch of people.
Homeland Security vehicles and armed agents. A massive federal operation unfolds on Canal Street.
None of this is about public safety. It is about fear and chaos.
Street vendors targeted and detained, protesters marching behind ICE agents as tensions escalate. Tonight, the federal raid on Canal Street. Good evening. I'm Christine Johnson. The Department of Homeland Security says this operation targeted illegal vendors. Dozens of agents took over Canal Street, questioning vendors and taking some into custody. Many New Yorkers who witnessed it started demonstrating, and later buyers and sellers.
Like, why? Why can't people just do this? Like, who is this? Like, this is a classic case of like, I consent. Hold up, I don't consent, right? New Yorkers don't have an issue by and large with Canal Street, right? Is famous for dupes, not to use the same term I was using earlier. Like, NYPD doesn't give a shit. New Yorkers don't give a shit. Tourists go and they buy like fake shit there. They buy dupes there. It's just like a known place, right? And it's been around for decades and left uninterrupted. Why the would you do this? It's so crazy. That's a lie. It's not made for self-preservation. It's completely made up. Wait, what? Yeah, it's a tourist attraction. There are stores that are designed around Canal Street as a location. It's just so crazy that outsiders have decided that this thing, that virtually all New Yorkers don't have an issue with at all, is actually bad now. It's so annoying.
All but vanished from a typically bustling area. We have team coverage here tonight. Alicia Reed has more on how vendors are reacting. Let's begin with Naveen Dhaliwal and the latest on how this all went down.
What began as a planned enforcement action by federal agents erupted into chaos on Canal Street Tuesday afternoon. A scene of shouting and pushing as crowds yelled at ICE agents.
You should be disgusted with yourself.
The Department of Homeland Security says the federal raid was focused on cracking down on the sale of counterfeit goods involving agents from ICE, FBI, and ATF. It's unclear how many vendors.
Yeah, they don't have enough. They don't have enough, like, what do you call it? They don't even have enough troops to be able to do this with ICE. So they have to bring in other federal law enforcement agencies all the goddamn time. And it's crazy because it's like, you might be asking yourself, like, why the fuck is the ATF doing this? Like, they don't have guns. It's not. It has nothing to do with guns. It's because Donald Trump is so singularly invested in this white nativist anti-immigration mass deportation scheme that the administration has literally reallocated federal law enforcement away from the crimes that they are normally supposed to be investigating to just this, interior deportations, interior removals. It's insane. The ATF definitely has guns. No, I'm saying these guys that are selling dupes on Canal Street don't have law enforcement violations. The ATF is supposed to be tasked with alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. That's what the A and the T and the F stands for. They're not there for that reason. They're there simply to assist in the mass apprehension of migrants that they suspect of being undocumented. Just like the FBI has no business doing interior removals. But the reasons why they're doing that is because ICE doesn't have enough. ICE does not have enough members that are trained to be able to do these mass apprehensions. So the Trump administration has restructured all of the federal law enforcement agencies to focus on this instead of whatever kind of crimes that they were tasked with focusing on. And in some instances, that's literally like sex trafficking, right? Like that's drug trafficking for DEA, sex trafficking, different types of interstate crimes, gang violence, things of that nature, hate crimes. All of these things that the FBI is tasked with normally dealing with and investigating, they are too busy. Instead, they're too busy doing this shit. So yes, this unironically has the opposite of the intended effect. The intended effect is we're stopping the most significant, the most heinous version of crime, which is caused by undocumented migrants. Ironically enough, it literally stops the active investigation of crimes. It makes America less safe. It makes America less safe because do you feel safe when you see masked armed agents of the state kidnapping people that haven't done anything wrong? It doesn't make you feel safe. It doesn't make me feel safe. But it also makes America less safe because they're not even investigating the actual things. The most redeemable aspect of federal law enforcement is these actual investigations into federal crimes, okay?
Were detained, but DHS says at least one protester was arrested for allegedly assaulting a federal officer. And in a statement saying in part,
yeah, look, nearly half of FBI agents and major offices reassigned to immigration enforcement, dude. How are we making America more safe? Data shows stunning shift in law enforcement priorities that has raised public safety concerns. How? Nearly half of FBI agents and major offices have been reassigned to immigration enforcement, dude. Yeah. Child rapists can just do whatever they want now. Yeah, if you're an art thief, if you are a French style, Pink Panther style, Arsène Lupin style art thief, this is your opportunity to shine, okay? There is perhaps no better time to be robbing a bank or robbing a museum for a cultural artifact than this very moment when all of the federal law enforcement agencies are tasked with like apprehending random Guatemalan people. Fantastic.
rioters who were shouting obscenities became violent and obstructed law enforcement duties. And in a startling move, military-style trucks used by Homeland Security investigations drove through Lower Manhattan, escorted by armed federal agents.
There is no excuse for sending military-style vehicles and a national law enforcement response for street vendors.
None of this is about public safety. It is about fear and chaos.
Ordinary New Yorkers on their way home or coming home stood up and said what you were doing is shameful. And ICE's response to that was escalation and violence.
A spokesperson for Mayor Adams says undocumented New Yorkers trying to pursue the American dream should not be the target of law enforcement, and resources should instead be focused on violent criminals. Protesters made their way to 26 Federal Plaza, where those detained were taken.
The manner in which ICE is going into areas and just wreaking havoc, causing unsafe communities, it's clear, it's very obvious that this isn't making anyone safer.
Immigrants are an inherent part of the USA. They're not the problem in this country.
The NYPD says they were not involved, and this was an ICE enforcement operation. In Lower Manhattan, Naveen Dhaliwal, CBS.
Low key, I don't know how people can do this, but like maybe it's time for some of these woke governors to actually show how woke they are and be like, don't worry, we got you. When we said no ICE on the streets, we meant it. We'll have our own law enforcement protect our neighbors and our citizens. We'll have our own National Guard deployed if necessary, like the way that they entertained it in Portland, as a matter of fact. You know, start getting the cops to arrest ICE. Not only when they're drunk driving, like that famous video, Lane, but just in general. Yeah, America's so broken, we back in the blue now. I mean, just saying, dude. Sometimes it's important to get active. I don't think it's ever going to happen, but like, that's what it takes. Who knows? Listen, you show me Graham Plattner geared up to arrest ICE in person and we might see it. Graham Plattner. Check previous ICE. I'm about to be sworn into the bar and I have a client who was scooped up by ICE at the airport. We literally have no idea why he's being held and ICE actively refuses to tell us why he's being held. They told us that he has his court date in mid-November and that we will all find out then. Inhumane shit. The standards are literally lower than that of the criminal justice system, yet they are treated worse somehow. Yeah, I mean, it's true. It is true. It is the most insane shit. They have less protection overall. Even American citizens have less protection at the point of entry into the country. You don't have Fourth Amendment rights when you're entering the country. It's nutty. Okay? Like, you kind of have Fourth Amendment rights. Kind of. But they will do everything in their power to just like take your shit away, apprehend it, look through it. Yeah, but this is where it came from. I live on Canal Street, and I think you're a piece of shit. Savannah Hernandez, I personally had New Yorkers thanking me for bringing light to how bad the Canal Street has gotten. This is it. A few days ago, this far-right poverty tourist and provocateur discovered Canal Street. Today, Trump's ICE cowboys marched in, says Justin Brannon.
Bags along this sidewalk.
Yeah, she made this video. She made this video, and then literally a couple days later, ICE came in and did this sweep.
Sidewalk was completely packed with people buying these Louis Vuitton bags, buying these YSL bags. Obviously, all of them are knockoffs. Now, I spoke to some of the migrants. They were telling me they're all from Senegal. And as I'm walking around, they all start grabbing their bags very quickly. Again, this entire block was filled with all of these bags, and they picked them all up very quickly. Within 2 minutes, they all started jumping in vehicles, running away. I was speaking to one of the migrants, and he ended up telling me that they don't have the license to sell these purses. It's illegal, and if the cops catch them, they will come and take away all of their products. Another thing that I noticed too, because I was filming, is these migrants, very similar to Paris, telling me that I can't film here.
Hey, you do the film here.
And that I wasn't allowed to be, using my camera. So they're being a little bit of aggressive toward me. And it just looked just like Paris. I was just in Paris a month ago, and it looks the exact same here on the streets of New York as it did over there. Again, I've just never seen.
Like, I'm Mr. Criminal Justice Reform and rehabilitation over incarceration. But then when I see ladies like this, who chatters are telling me is like a paid Hasbara agent as well, it's just hard for me to maintain a consistent principle on this issue. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes when I see stuff like this, I'm like, maybe prisons are good. Maybe prisons not so obsolete, you know? Maybe prison's good. Not obsolete at all, as a matter of fact. Yeah, we need a woke criminal justice system to mass arrest losers like that.